Have you ever felt that Christmas has lost its magic? You prepare everything, you buy gifts, you decorate the house, you attend parties, you smile, you celebrate. But deep inside, something feels empty. Something is missing.
And what he discovered changed not only his own life, but the way millions of people understand Christmas to this day. St. Francis didn't discover this in books. He didn't learn it in a university. He discovered it by looking at the most simple thing in the world. A manger, a baby, a family without a home. And in that simplicity, he found something that all the gifts and decorations in the world could never give. He found real joy, real peace, real meaning. In this video, I want to share with you what St. Francis discovered. I'll explain it in simple words, the way a friend would explain to another friend. Because the truth is, the real meaning of Christmas is actually very simple. We've just forgotten it. You don't need to be a theologian to understand this. You don't need to read complicated books.
You just need to look at what happened on that first Christmas night and you'll see it clearly. So let me tell you the story of St. Francis and his beautiful discovery. Let me show you what You just need to look at what happened on that first Christmas night and you'll see it clearly. So let me tell you the story of St. Francis and his beautiful discovery. Let me show you what Christmas really means. And maybe, just maybe, this Christmas will feel different for you. Maybe you'll find that magic again. Not the fake magic of consumerism, but the real magic of love, simplicity, and God becoming human for you. Let's discover together what Christmas is really about. Before we talk about what St. Francis discovered about Christmas, let me tell you who this man was, because his story is beautiful and it will help you understand why his discovery means so much. Francis was born in Italy around the year 1181. His father was a wealthy cloth merchant. Francis grew up with everything money could buy: nice clothes, good food, parties, friends.
He had what we might call a comfortable life. As a young man, Francis loved to party. He loved to spend money. He dreamed of becoming a knight, of having glory and fame. He was, in many ways, like many young people today. He wanted to enjoy life, to be successful, to be admired. But something happened that changed everything. Francis went to war. He was captured and spent a year in prison. During that time, something inside him started to change. He began to question what his life was really about. All those parties, all that money, all those dreams of glory, did they really matter? When he returned home, Francis was a different person. He started spending time alone, praying, thinking deeply about life. One day, while praying in a small ruined church, he heard God speak to him, not with a loud voice from heaven, but clearly in his heart. God said, "Francis, rebuild my church."
At first, Francis thought God meant that literal church building, so he started fixing it with his own hands. But slowly he understood. God was asking him to rebuild something much bigger. God was asking him to show people what following Jesus really means. And here's what Francis discovered. Following Jesus means living simply. It means loving everyone, especially the poor. It means finding joy not in possessions, but in God's love. It means treating all of creation, every person, every animal, every tree, as a gift from God. Francis gave away all his wealth. He started wearing simple clothes. He lived with the poor. He cared for lepers that everyone else avoided. He preached about God's love with such joy that people couldn't help but listen. But Francis wasn't sad or serious about all this. That's the beautiful thing. He was the happiest person anyone had ever met. He sang. He smiled. He called the sun his brother and the moon his sister. He talked to birds and they seemed to listen. He radiated joy. People saw this and were amazed. How could someone who owned nothing be so happy? How could someone who gave up everything have so much peace? The answer was simple. Francis had discovered what really matters in life. He had discovered that God's love is enough. that simplicity brings freedom, that caring for others brings joy, that creation is a gift to be celebrated, not a resource to be exploited. Thousands of people joined Francis. They became known as Franciscans. They spread across Europe, living simply, helping the poor, preaching God's love with joy. But there was one moment in Francis's life that would change how Christians understand Christmas forever. It happened in the year 1223, in a small Italian village called Greccio.
And what Francis did that night was so simple, so beautiful, that it has touched hearts for 800 years. Let me tell you what happened. But before we get to that beautiful moment in Greccio, we need to talk about something important. We need to talk about what happened to Christmas. Because here's the truth. Christmas today looks very different from what it was meant to be. Think about it for a moment. What does Christmas mean in our modern world? For most people, Christmas means shopping. It means spending money on gifts. It means decorating your house to impress neighbors. It means attending parties where you eat too much. It means stress about finding the perfect presents. It means credit card debt in January. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing bad about giving gifts or decorating or celebrating with family. These things can be beautiful expressions of love.
But somewhere along the way, these things stopped being expressions of love. They became the whole point. They became obligations. They became a show. They became a competition. How many gifts did you get? How expensive were they? How does your house look compared to others? Did you get invited to the best parties? And the result is that millions of people feel empty during Christmas. They feel stressed. They feel pressure. They feel like they're performing in a play rather than celebrating something real. You see this emptiness everywhere if you look for it. Parents going into debt to buy toys their children will forget in a month. Families fighting about who hosts Christmas dinner. People feeling lonely because they don't have the perfect celebration everyone posts on social media. Workers exhausted from the Christmas shopping rush.
Beautiful traditions reduced to commercial transactions. And the saddest part? In all this noise and all this buying and selling and decorating and rushing, the actual meaning of Christmas gets lost. Most people couldn't even tell you what Christmas is really about. Ask someone on the street, what is Christmas? They'll say, it's about family, about giving, about kindness, about the Christmas spirit. And those are nice things, but they're not the answer. Christmas is about something much more specific, something much more profound, something that actually makes sense of all the good feelings we associate with Christmas. Christmas is about God becoming human. That's it. That's the whole thing. God, who created the universe, chose to become a tiny baby. He was born in a stable. His first bed was a feeding trough for animals. His parents were poor. He had nothing.
And in that poverty, in that simplicity, in that vulnerability, God showed us what love really looks like. But we've buried this truth under so much stuff, under so many traditions that we forgot why we have them, under so much consumerism that we can't see the simple beauty anymore. This is what St. Francis saw in his time too, and his time was 800 years ago. This isn't a new problem. People have been forgetting what Christmas means for a very long time. In Francis's day, Christmas celebrations were becoming elaborate. The church services were complicated. The theology was difficult to understand. Common people felt disconnected from it all. And Francis thought, this is wrong. This is all wrong. The birth of Jesus was the simplest, most humble, most beautiful thing that ever happened. Why are we making it so complicated? Jesus was born in a stable. His parents couldn't find a room. He was laid in a manger, a box where animals eat. Shepherds, the poorest workers in society, were the first to visit. Angels announced his birth not to kings, but to those humble shepherds. Everything about that first Christmas was simple, poor, humble, real. And Francis thought, we need to remember this. We need to see it again. We need to feel what it really means. So he decided to do something that had never been done before. It was December 1223. Francis was in a small town called Greccio in the mountains of Italy. Christmas was approaching, and Francis had an idea. A simple, beautiful idea that would change how people experience Christmas forever. He went to a friend named Giovanni and said, "I want to create something special this Christmas. I want to show people what that first Christmas night was really like. I want them to see it, feel it, understand it in a new way." Giovanni listened, curious. Francis continued, "Find me a cave. Bring hay. Bring a manger, a feeding trough like animals use. Bring a real ox and a real donkey. On Christmas Eve, we'll celebrate Mass there. We'll recreate that stable in Bethlehem. We'll show people that Jesus was born in poverty and simplicity, and that this is beautiful." Giovanni was surprised. Nothing like this had ever been done before. But he trusted Francis, so he prepared everything. Christmas Eve arrived. Word had spread about Francis's plan. People from the village and surrounding areas came. They walked up the mountain carrying torches. The night was cold and dark. When they arrived, they saw it. A simple cave, hay scattered on the ground, a wooden manger in the center, a real ox and donkey standing peacefully nearby, torchlight flickering on the cave walls. It was so simple, so humble, so real. Francis stood there, and he began to speak. But he didn't give a complicated sermon. He didn't use fancy theological words. He simply told the story of that first Christmas night. He spoke about Mary and Joseph, tired from traveling, finding no room in the inn. He spoke about them going to a stable, a place where animals were kept. He spoke about Mary giving birth there, in that poor place, and laying her baby in a manger because she had nothing else. He spoke about shepherds in the fields, watching their flocks at night. He spoke about angels appearing to them with the greatest news in history. A Savior is born to you, Christ the Lord. And he spoke about those shepherds, poor and humble themselves, being the first to see God incarnate. As Francis spoke, something happened. People started to cry. Not sad tears, tears of understanding, tears of joy. They were seeing it for the first time, really seeing it. God didn't come as a king in a palace. He came as a baby in a stable. He didn't choose wealth and power. He chose poverty and vulnerability. He didn't distance himself from human suffering. He entered right into it. One person who was there that night wrote about it later. He said that as Francis spoke about the baby Jesus, it seemed like the manger really did hold a child. He said Francis picked up a doll representing the baby and held it with such tenderness, such love, that everyone felt they were witnessing something holy. The Mass that night was unlike any Mass those people had experienced before. It wasn't in a grand cathedral. It wasn't formal and distant. It was real. It was close. It was like they were actually there on that first Christmas night.
Francis had done something revolutionary, though he probably didn't realize it at the time. He had created the first nativity scene, the first recreation of Jesus' birth. What we now see in churches and homes every Christmas, those little figures of Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, the shepherds, the animals, it all started with Francis in that cave in Greccio. But Francis's purpose wasn't to start a tradition. His purpose was much deeper. He wanted people to understand something fundamental about God, something that changes everything if you really grasp it. He wanted people to see that God chose to become small, to become vulnerable, to become poor, to become one of us in the most humble way possible. And in that choice, God was telling us something beautiful about what really matters in life. Let me explain what Francis understood that night. Let me show you what that manger really means. Look at that manger for a moment. Really look at it. It's a feeding trough, a box where animals eat their food, made of rough wood or stone, filled with hay.
It's the simplest, poorest thing you could use as a baby's first bed. Why did God choose this? He's God. He could have been born anywhere, in a palace, in a temple, in the most beautiful, comfortable place imaginable. But he chose a manger, in a stable, with animals, in poverty. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't just because the inn was full. This was a choice, a message, a revelation about what God is really like. Here's what Francis understood. The manger shows us that God values humility. He doesn't come with power and force and impressive displays. He comes gently, quietly, humbly. Think about it. If God wanted to impress us, he could have done it in so many ways. He could have appeared in the sky as a giant figure. He could have sent armies of angels to announce his arrival with overwhelming power. He could have been born as a king, with all the world bowing before him. But instead, he became a helpless baby. He needed his mother to feed him. He needed his father to protect him. He cried. He was vulnerable. This tells us something profound about God's nature. God is not about domination. He's about love. And love makes itself vulnerable. Love comes close. Love meets us where we are. The manger also shows us that God is with the poor. His first bed was something poor people would use. His parents couldn't afford a proper place to stay. The first visitors were shepherds, people at the bottom of society. Everything about Jesus' birth says, I'm here for the poor. I'm here for the forgotten. I'm here for those the world ignores.
This was revolutionary then, it's revolutionary now. We live in a world that worships wealth, power, success, fame. We think those things make people important, make them valuable, make them matter. But God says, no. I chose poverty. I chose simplicity. I chose humility. Those are the things that matter. Not what you own, but how you love. Not your status, but your heart. And here's something else the manger teaches us. It teaches us that the most important things in life are simple. Francis understood this deeply. That's why he lived so simply himself. He knew that joy doesn't come from having a lot. It comes from loving much. That first Christmas had no gifts wrapped in expensive paper, no elaborate decorations, no credit card bills. Just a family, some animals, some shepherds, and God's love entering the world. And it was perfect. It was everything it needed to be.
You see, when we fill Christmas with so much stuff, we actually lose the ability to see what's really there. It's like we're covering that simple manger with so many layers of wrapping paper and ribbons and tinsel that we can't see it anymore. Francis wanted to strip all that away. He wanted people to see the manger again, to see that baby again, to understand what that moment really meant. And what it meant is this: God loves you so much that he became small for you. He became vulnerable for you. He entered your world, your suffering, your life, not as a powerful king far away, but as a baby you could hold in your arms. That's the meaning of Christmas. That's what the manger represents. It's God saying, I'm here with you. I'm close to you. I understand what it's like to be human. I chose to share your life, your struggles, your joy, your pain. And if God chose simplicity and humility and poverty, maybe those things are more valuable than we thought. Maybe we've been chasing the wrong things. Maybe what really matters has been right there all along, as simple as a baby in a manger. This is what Francis wanted people to see. This is what transformed his own life. And it can transform Christmas for you too. Now, let's talk about why Christmas feels empty when it becomes about buying things. I'm not saying gifts are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't give presents or decorate your house. Those things can be beautiful expressions of love when they come from the heart.
But here's what happens when those things become the focus, when they become the whole point. You start to measure Christmas by what you can buy, by how much you spend, by how impressive your gifts are, by how your house looks compared to your neighbor's house.
And when you measure things that way, you're setting yourself up to feel empty, because buying things doesn't satisfy the deepest hunger in your heart. Think about it. You work hard to buy the perfect gift for someone. You spend a lot of money, you wrap it beautifully, you give it to them. They open it, they say thank you, maybe they really like it, maybe they don't. And then what? That moment passes. The gift gets used or put away or forgotten. And you're left wondering, was that it? Was that what Christmas is about? Or think about decorations. You spend hours putting up lights. You buy new decorations every year. You make your house look perfect. People come and say, wow, beautiful. And then Christmas ends. You take it all down. You pack it away. You're exhausted. And you wonder, why do I feel so tired? Why don't I feel the joy I'm supposed to feel? Here's why.
Because you're trying to find meaning in things that can't give lasting meaning. A gift is just an object. A decoration is just a pretty thing. They're nice, but they're not deep. They're not the kind of thing that touches your soul and changes your life. What touches your soul is love, real connection, real meaning, real truth about who you are and why you're here. And that's exactly what the manger offers. That's what the birth of Jesus is about. It's about God saying, you matter so much to me that I became one of you. You're not alone. You're loved beyond measure. Your life has infinite value, not because of what you own or achieve, but because I created you and love you. That message, that truth, that's what satisfies the deepest hunger in your heart. Nothing you can buy in a store can compare to that. This is why Francis chose poverty, not because possessions are evil,
but because he discovered that having less actually made him freer. It made him happier. It opened his heart to experience God's love more fully. When you're not constantly worried about getting more stuff, protecting your stuff, impressing people with your stuff, you have space in your heart for what really matters. You have space to notice the beauty of creation, to really see people and love them, to experience God's presence, to feel gratitude for simple things. Francis found more joy in a sunset than most rich people find in all their possessions. He found more peace talking to birds than most powerful people find in all their achievements. He found more meaning in caring for one poor person than most famous people find in all their recognition. This is the freedom that simplicity brings. This is what Christmas is trying to teach us. You don't need a lot to be happy. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to compete with your neighbors. You just need to open your heart to God's love, to see His presence in simple things, to share that love with others. That's what makes Christmas magical. Not the stuff, not the show, but the simple, profound truth that God loves you and is with you. And when you understand that, when you really feel that, you discover something amazing. You discover that you already have everything you need. So how do you find that true joy? How do you experience what Francis experienced? How do you make this Christmas different? Let me share some simple truths with you. These aren't rules. They're not obligations. They're invitations. Ways to open your heart to what Christmas really offers. First, give yourself permission to simplify. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to buy gifts for everyone.
You don't have to attend every party. You don't have to make your house look like a magazine cover. It's okay to do less. It's okay to say no to some things. It's okay to choose simplicity over spectacle. In fact, doing less might be exactly what you need to feel more. When you're not exhausted from all the preparations, you have energy to actually be present with the people you love. When you're not stressed about money, you can be generous in ways that cost nothing, but mean everything. When you're not trying to impress anyone, you can be yourself. Second, focus on presence, not presence. The greatest gift you can give someone is your attention, your time, your real presence. Put away your phone. Look people in the eyes. Listen to them. Really listen, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Ask them how they really are. Share how you really are.
These moments of real connection, that's where joy lives. That's where love is actually felt and shared. Francis understood this. When he was with people, he was fully there. He saw them. He loved them. He made them feel like they mattered. That's why people were drawn to him, not because he gave them things, but because he gave them himself. Third, notice the simple beauty around you. God speaks to us through creation, through ordinary moments, through simple things. The warmth of your home when it's cold outside, the smile of someone you love, the taste of good food shared with family, the sound of laughter, the beauty of Christmas lights reflecting in a child's eyes, the quiet peace of a winter night. These simple things are actually sacred moments. They're gifts from God, but we miss them when we're too busy, too stressed, too focused on the big, impressive things.
Francis found God in everything, in the sun, in the rain, in birds singing, in a simple meal, in the face of a poor person. He saw that all of creation is a love letter from God to us. You can see that too, if you slow down enough to look. Fourth, be generous in small ways. You don't need a lot of money to be generous. You can be generous with your time, your attention, your kindness, your smile. Call someone who might be lonely. Forgive someone who hurt you. Help someone who needs it. Say thank you to people who serve you. Notice the people others ignore. These small acts of love, they're what Christmas is really about. They're how God's love becomes real in the world. Through us. Through our choices to love each other. Fifth, make space for God. Christmas is about God coming to be with us. But if we're too busy, too distracted, too noisy, we won't notice His presence.
Find some quiet time, even just a few minutes. Sit in silence. Pray. Not complicated prayers. Just talk to God like you'd talk to a friend. Tell Him how you're feeling. Ask Him to help you see what really matters. Look at a nativity scene. Really look at it. Imagine you're there. Imagine seeing that baby for the first time. Imagine what it means that God became this small, this vulnerable, this close. Let yourself feel the tenderness of it, the beauty of it, the love behind it. And finally, remember this. Christmas is not about being perfect. Mary and Joseph weren't in a perfect situation. They were traveling while Mary was pregnant. They couldn't find a decent place to stay. They had to make do with a stable. God didn't wait for perfect circumstances. He came anyway, right into the mess and difficulty of real life. He comes to you the same way, right where you are.
With all your imperfections, with all your struggles, with all your doubts and questions and failures, you don't have to have it all together to experience Christmas. You just have to be willing to open your heart. Let me give you some very practical ideas for making this Christmas more meaningful. Simple things you can actually do. Start with your gift giving. Instead of buying expensive things because you feel obligated, think about what would really matter to each person. Maybe it's a heartfelt letter telling them what they mean to you. Maybe it's offering your time to help them with something they need. Maybe it's a simple gift that shows you really know them, that you pay attention to what they love. Or maybe you could suggest to your family that this year, instead of everyone buying gifts for everyone, you choose one person to give to. Or you agree to make gifts instead of buying them. Or you donate to a charity together instead of exchanging presents. These conversations can be hard at first. People are used to the old way. But you might be surprised. A lot of people feel the same way you do. They're also tired of the obligation and expense. They're also looking for something more meaningful. For decorations, keep it simple. You don't need to do everything. Choose a few things that really mean something to you. Maybe a nativity scene in a central place. Not expensive, just simple. And spend time looking at it. Let it remind you what Christmas is about. Maybe some candles.
Their light in the darkness is a beautiful symbol of Christ coming into our dark world. Maybe some natural things, pine branches, pine cones, simple and beautiful. You don't need to compete with anyone.
Your home doesn't need to look like a Christmas store exploded in it. Simple can be beautiful. Simple can be peaceful. For Christmas meals, make them about being together, not about perfection. The food doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be made with love and shared with joy. Let people help. Don't stress about everything being perfect. Laugh about the mistakes. Enjoy the process. And during the meal, maybe start a new tradition. Go around the table and let each person share something they're grateful for, or share a favorite Christmas memory, or talk about what Christmas means to them. These conversations create connection. They create memories. They're worth more than the fanciest meal. Consider doing something for others this Christmas, not because you have to, but because it brings joy. Maybe visit someone who's alone. Maybe volunteer at a soup kitchen.
Maybe collect gifts for children who won't get any. Maybe just shovel an elderly neighbor's driveway. When you give without expecting anything back, when you help someone who can't repay you, you experience something Francis knew well. You experience the joy of being God's hands in the world. If you have children, help them understand what Christmas is really about. Tell them the story of Jesus' birth in simple words. Let them help set up the nativity scene. Explain why each figure is there. Talk about why Jesus was born in a stable. And more importantly, show them by your example. When they see you choosing simplicity over show, presence over presence, generosity over getting, they learn what really matters. Finally, protect some quiet time for yourself during the Christmas season. This is hard because Christmas is so busy, but it's so important. Take a walk by yourself. Sit quietly before a nativity scene in a church. Read the Christmas story slowly from the Bible. Pray. Just be still. In that stillness, you can hear what God is saying to you. You can feel His presence. You can remember what this is all about. Francis spent a lot of time alone with God. That's where he found his joy, his peace, his clarity about what matters. You need that time too. You don't need to do all of these things. Just choose one or two that resonate with you. Start small. See what happens. The point isn't to add more obligations to your Christmas. The point is to remove what doesn't matter so you can see what does. There's one more thing I need to tell you, the most important thing. All of these practices I've shared, all these ideas about simplicity and presence and generosity, they're wonderful. They can make your Christmas better. But they're not the point.
They're not the gift. The gift is Jesus Himself. That's what Francis understood in that cave in Greccio. That's what made him cry tears of joy. That's what changed his life and the lives of everyone who was there that night. God didn't just send us good advice. He didn't just give us rules to follow or wisdom to learn. He gave us Himself. He became one of us. He entered our world. He experienced what we experience: joy, pain, love, loss, hunger, tiredness, friendship, loneliness, everything. And He did this because He loves you, personally, specifically, infinitely. Think about what that means. The God who created billions of galaxies, who holds all of existence in being, who is infinitely powerful and wise and good, that God chose to become a baby, to become vulnerable, to become poor, to become human. Why? For you, so you would know that you're loved. So you would know that you're not alone. So you would know that your life has infinite value and meaning. This is the gift of Christmas. Not the things under the tree, not the decorations, not the parties. This, God's presence with you, God's love for you, God saying, I'm here, I'm with you, you matter to me. And here's the beautiful thing. This gift is always available, not just on Christmas Day, every moment. God doesn't wait for you to be good enough. He doesn't wait for you to have your life together. He doesn't wait for you to understand everything or believe perfectly. He came to a stable, to poverty, to ordinary people living ordinary lives. He came right into the mess of the world. And he comes to you the same way, right where you are, right now. All you have to do is open your heart to him. That's it. That's the only thing required. Not perfection, not having all the answers, just openness, just willingness to let him in. And when you do that, when you really let God into your heart, everything changes. Not necessarily your circumstances. You might still have problems. You might still struggle. But inside, in your heart, there's a peace that wasn't there before. A joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. A love that fills the empty places. This is what Francis discovered. This is why he was so happy, even though he owned nothing. He had found the one thing that truly satisfies the human heart. He had found God's love. And that's available to you too, this Christmas, today, right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be someone different than you are. Just open your heart. Just say, God, I'm here. I want to know you. I want to experience your love. Come into my life.
Help me see what really matters. That simple prayer, that simple openness, that's all it takes. And I promise you, if you do that, this Christmas will be different. Not because of what you buy or do or achieve, but because you'll experience something real, something that lasts, something that changes everything. You'll experience the gift that truly matters, God's presence, God's love, God with you. That's what Christmas is. That's what that baby in the manger represents. God with you. Always. We've come full circle. We started by talking about why Christmas can feel empty. Now you know why. It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you're not trying hard enough or spending enough money or doing enough things. It's because you've been looking for meaning in the wrong places.
The meaning of Christmas isn't in gifts or decorations or parties or perfect family gatherings. Those things are nice, but they can't satisfy your deepest hunger. The meaning of Christmas is in that simple stable, in that poor manger, in that baby who is God becoming one of us. St. Francis understood this. He stripped away all the elaborate complications and showed people what was really there. A God who loves us so much that he became small for us, vulnerable for us, human for us. And when you see that, when you really understand that, it changes everything. You stop needing so much stuff to be happy. You stop needing to impress people. You stop feeling empty even when you have everything, because you have what actually matters. You have God's love. You have his presence. You have the knowledge that you're valued infinitely, not for what you do or own, but simply because you exist and God loves you. This Christmas, I want to invite you to experience what Francis experienced. I want to invite you to look at that manger again, to see it with fresh eyes, to understand what it really means. God is with you. He came to be with you. He enters your life, your struggles, your joy, your pain. He's not far away in heaven, distant and unconcerned. He's here, close, personal, real. That's the gift of Christmas. That's what makes it magical. Not the show, but the truth. Not the stuff, but the love. Not the performance, but the presence. You don't need a perfect Christmas. You don't need an expensive Christmas. You don't need an impressive Christmas. You just need to open your heart to the love that's already there, waiting for you, in that simple stable, in that humble manger, in that baby who is God with us. Do that, and you'll find what you've been looking for. You'll find the true meaning of Christmas. You'll find real joy. You'll find peace. You'll find that your heart,
no matter how restless it's been, can finally rest. In Him, in that baby, in God's love. Merry Christmas. May you experience the gift that truly matters.